My guest between periods this time is Frank Catani, who's the coach of the Hibbing Cardinal hockey team. Frank, your team is rated now as #1 in the nation, and is that a first for you?
Well, we were rated one time about 4 years ago for 1 or 2 weeks as #1. Then we dropped down in the standings with a few losses towards the end, but this is the first time that we've had a team that's gone on now with 11-1 record at this time of the season.
Does this pose any kind of a pressure problem as far as on the kids or anything as being #1 in the nation?
No, it really hasn't in a sense. I don't know if it's really sunk into them, if they know what it's like to be #1 in the nation. I asked them many times, when's the last time you're #1 in any other thing you've ever done? And they start wondering, you know, maybe it is something really important, and it is. It hasn't caused any problem because of the maturity of our kids. A lot of our kids have been away either to a 4-year school and came back, or to a junior A program, and the maturity factor in 4 lines has helped us a lot in achieving this.
Maybe, I suppose maybe you could also say that probably since this isn't a big media area, since this is all through the polls that are made through sports writers, that you know, being not a big media area like Minneapolis and that's one of the reasons also that we probably wouldn't get that.
Right. They don't get it blown too out of proportion. They keep it right where it should be. There's only about, I think at one time there were 30 schools playing community college hockey in the nation, and I say right now they're probably between 20 and 22 actively playing. And to be rated #1 and you know, is a big thing. But again, it's kept in the right perspective.
Do you think, how is recruiting for Hibbing here? Is this going to help you now? And of course, the tournament will be in DuPage or Illinois. Will this help you?
Well, just playing here now already, I have 8 letters laying on my desk, and a parent and a son came over today from Grand Rapids to see the school. But it has to help, and I've been around in this program now for 13 years, and we've won 4 state titles. We've been in the national tournament. We have, I think, 12 All-Americans in the last 13 years. So a lot of the publicity's gone out, and a lot of the kids have gone out in the area and helped sell the program. But, you know, you got to keep in mind that we're not going to ever build a dynasty in community college hockey. It's merely a stepping stone. So by hosting a tournament and keeping it #1, and plus the educational background and that the kids gather here at a community college at the AVTI helps.
Do a lot of the players that you get here are ones that probably aren't good enough to make it right away in a 4-year school, but then they could go on and play, say, in the junior year, they could go there and make the team?
All right. Well, a lot of them will come here either scholastically, they're having a little problem and they have to adjust to get their grades up, or financially, which has happened this year because of the economy. A lot of the players have stayed around. But it's true. I've had players go on to the WCHA and had many of them gone into small 4-year schools merely by using this as a feeder program for the bigger schools.
Being the #1 team in the nation, you also have the top goalie in the nation. Is there any pressure on him?
Oh, Stan is a pretty relaxed individual. He's just an outstanding athlete, and I don't think there's any pressure on Stan at all. Stan just loves to play. Matter of fact, he sometimes gets on me and says, I need more shots. And our practices, in some cases, we just have to shoot, you know, maybe 500 or 700 pucks at him just to really, you know, well, sure, every player has to shoot many times at him because he likes a lot of shots, and the more shots, the better he gets.
Yeah. What's your philosophy on the game?
Well, right now with this, you have to go with your talent, but in this particular year, we're trying to play a little bit of a European style where the kids can move around the rink and hit the open man. We're always looking for the open man drill and trying to pick up. See, we can play the body to a certain degree, but you can't lose concept of the flow of the game. And if we're just going to go running out and hitting the body, then we break down. This particular team with 4 lines and with the maturity, we play the body in a 2-man forecheck. We leave the 3rd man deep in the slot to work a defensive triangle with the 2 defensemen. And that has played us our biggest dividends right now. So I'd say a skating game and taking the body when necessary.
You're talking about European style. Could you classify that as a Russian style also, or is that a little bit different?
Well, no, it's kind of a blend, I guess. I try to pick up a blend from all of them. There was first a style that everybody wanted to play, the Canadian style, the big hitting game. Well, I think that's probably why we're having so many people injured with the knees and concussions. There's too much running, and I think that the thing has kind of got out of hand a little bit. And you take a look at the top players, how many are out with knee injuries and such. I think that the European style became real popular with the wide rinks in Europe, and everybody was skating and passing. But you still have to keep the body in the game. So I'm trying to maybe commingle all the styles together, and again, go with your talent. This year I can do this. Maybe next year we'll have to go back to square one.
I guess probably with to play the European style or Russian style, you have to have speed, because I think that's precision passing and everything that they do.
Well, you have to have that hand and eye coordination, have individuals that can play it. Again, you have to go with your talent, and whatever your talent will dictate you. And this year, I feel as though with the people that we have, we can play a kind of a European style, but still we're strong enough to play the body.
I've heard questions all the time of different types of goalies, like a stand-up goalie and a crouch goalie. Like Bob Mason, when he was at UMD, he was a stand-up goalie, and your goalie, he's a stand-up goalie. What's the difference between a crouch goalie and a stand-up goalie?
Well, I've had both through my years of coaching here, and I tell you, they both, again, it's their personality. Tim Pogorels made All-American playing for us, brought us to the national tournament out in Lake Placid, and he was flopping all around. But he was superior strength and speed. I used to think he was trained with 22 shells. His hands are so quick. Now, Stan Bouch, on the other hand, is a stand-up goaltender and still gets the job done. Stan will just stand there and wait for you to make your move, and once you do, he'll snare it.
I think one of the better crouch goalies that I remember was this Murray McLaughlin from Minnesota. He was just quick as a cat.
Right, and that's just how Tim Pogorels was. Tim would challenge you. He'd sneak out, go back. He could do drills that I haven't run across another goaltender with the superior strength that he has. Stan Bouch is probably the closest to that goaltender that I've ever had.
You have to pay DuPage it. Is DuPage rated quite high in the ratings?
Well, we were 1 at the last time the polls came out. DuPage was 4th, but now this is early in the poll. This is the first in January, the first ones that have been released. DuPage has played Rochester in Rochester and won the first night 6-5 and lost tied the second game 6-6. And then we had played Rochester here. So if that's any indication, but again, it's early in the season, and you don't know what injuries DuPage may have brought to Rochester or anything. So I guess I don't go too much by that. I have to meet them here head on and find out what they have.
How's your status as far as injuries and everything on your team? Are you all healthy?
Well, Dan Hansen had a shoulder separation, and he had a pin put in his arm last year to get ready for this season. And it hasn't healed up quite completely yet, and he's a little bit aggravated by that. Ross Rosati, our leading goal scorer in the nation from Eveleth, Minnesota, he has kind of an ailment in his elbow that gives him some discomfort, but he's able to play. And I would have to say, overall, for the amount of games that we've played, I'd have to say we're healthy.
Any comments on tonight's game?
Well, I think that the whole key to Eveleth's success to this part of the game has been that Eveleth came over here not intimidated, completely psyched up, and they're doing something that no other team has done. They're playing Hibbing's body, and Hibbing's going to have to adjust to that.
Yeah, earlier I talked to the Eveleth players. They came here. They says that they're here to play tonight. I said they missed their chance at home. They said they're here tonight to play.
Well, it certainly shows.
Well, thank you, Frank, for being my guest, and I want to wish you continued success on this year, the rest of the year on your team this year.
Thank you very much.
We will be right back at the third period action.